Hey everybody, it's Jessica and welcome back to the Ebony Escape. And today I have another Doodle Podcast for you today, but of the what would traditionally be Inktober tradition, but today it is of the October tradition, specifically October by Audra Eclair. And she is an artist that I've been following for a long time, but she decided to make her own flavor of Inktober. And I really appreciated it because the stipulations of her Inktober are to be basically more kind to your mental health. And she put on her Instagram that this is not a daily challenge and you can have your own individual goal, and she encourages that. And she wants people to try to do 15 prompts from the list. And I really liked that, and I love her work, so I thought it would be interesting and a fun exercise to pursue this particular Inktober kind of platform, so this Inktober kind of challenge that she made. So for the first Inktober challenge, I decided to do the prompt shadow, which is number 26. And basically, I was inspired by my own OC who is named Ebony. So Ebony Escape, there is a bigger meaning for all of that good stuff. But basically, I wanted to do a shadow that reflected what she needed to bring within outside of her. So as you can see from the beginning of the concept, she is progressing down a hallway and walking, and I'm trying to draw her head looking downward, so she might be contemplative and introspective and considering something. And then we have the shadow on the wall, which is this silhouette of this woman whose head is held up high, her fluffy kinky hair is out, and she has her hands just spread out in kind of a confident jazz walk. But basically, I wanted to do this prompt because I wanted to draw on developing story, because I do have a story for Ebony that I'm currently working on, and I would love to dive into it more. So I thought that using this prompt for October would be a great opportunity to do that. But basically, as far as my process goes, I started with some ink brushes that were kind of on the lighter side, and a marker brush. The ink brush was from the Sumi set that I got from Etsy, and the marker brush is from a set that I got from Ross Draws. And that is one of my things. I love to buy pieces of technology and brushes and stuff like that and try them out and try apps and stuff like that. So this is definitely my MO, but I do find ways that I can use all these different brushes. But even so, when you find something that you like and you want to work with, you continue working with that. So if you feel like you have to mix and match people's sets or make your own custom brushes or what have you, you need to just find what works for you, and you can definitely feel comfortable sticking with that and don't feel like you have to get every single thing out there. But when I see something that looks interesting and looks like I could use it, I go after it. So that's why I bought Ross Draws brushes and why I bought this Sumi set from Etsy. So, find what works for you. And at this point, you can see that I'm drawing boxes above the shadow and above Ebony's head. And basically, I kind of wanted to play with story here, and so make little comic panels. So the general first bit that you're supposed to see is that Ebony is looking down and the shadow is strutting to the right. But with those panels, those little rectangles that I've drawn, I want you to see Ebony's reaction of looking over at the shadow in surprise. And I was kind of going through figuring out what I wanted her emotion to be, if I wanted her to not be fazed by seeing the shadow or what have you. But basically I decided to opt for surprise at the end. And then for the shadow, I wanted her to have a playful kind of smirk. But the thing is, you can't really see her lips or anything like that. So I was really trying to play heavily with the eyebrows and how wide or how thin her eyelids were open or how much they're not open, so it could play with the expression. So this was feeding a lot into telling story through expression and not having access to all the facial features and all that kind of stuff. Another influence that I wanted to make sure that I brought up for this piece that I'm doing is the movie Intergalactic, and I don't know if y'all seen it yet, but I love it so much. And if anyone remembers like the specific scene, this pose is inspired by Jabari when he's at his office late and he has his shadow cast on the wall, and it's actually a drawing of his own OC. So the shadow on the wall here is not Ebony's OC, but I just loved how when they showed Jabari against his shadow against the wall, and it was his character, Mr. Rage, it showed how much the character was like a part of him and how he was struggling with how he should portray the character and like what the company vision was and all this different kind of stuff. And I just really loved that, how much the character was a part of him. And the shadow itself is not a character, but the shadow is a very important being in Ebony's universe. So I wanted to like take the opportunity to use her and kind of like introduce her in like this kind of mysterious way, in a kind of concept art sort of way. And one thing about Intergalactic that I love is the way that it looks. Honestly, I feel like the movie, the animation style is reminiscent of Spider-Verse. And what I mean by that is it gives off a comic book come alive kind of vibe. Kind of like how Spider-Verse looked like moving comic book drawings. Intergalactic kind of gives off that same vibe. And the animation is, I think, a tad more jittery. And I thought that was really cool stylistically as well. It just looked like these living drawings that became three-dimensional and weren't just flat on the page. And I loved the unique ways of like the shading and the ways that the textures were used to like bring life to the characters, their hair, their clothes, the environment, the lights on the street, all those different things. I thought it was so beautiful. It was almost like as if they took more broad kind of chunky concept art and decided to animate it there and not make it like so defined and like 3D realistic. And I love that they went in that direction. And it makes me think of like the kind of way that I would love for my animations to look in the future. I would love for it to have those kind of like drawing come alive feel to it, and I definitely think Intergalactic achieved that. And so I really loved it, and so I was really inspired by like that pose, and it felt perfect for the shadow prompt, so I just went with it. But the reason why I wanted to dive into talking about my OC and like making more work around her is because I want to be more purposeful about my projects. Like on my website and in my bio for like all of my socials, I talk about how I love Afrofuturistic storytelling, and even on my personal Insta I say that I'm trying to assemble a black parade of sorts. And so I really want to be purposeful about developing those kinds of stories, and I would love for Ebony to be a character that I use in animations and make like an animated feature about it. So I am taking the time right now to do like visual development for her and work on making her more tangible and more real, and trying to figure out her character and more of her story and stuff like that. And I definitely feel like it wouldn't be like a one-off kind of thing where I just like make one feature about her. I definitely feel like she is a character that could have a lot more story to her and a lot more animated features and things like that. So I would definitely encourage y'all to find room for you to give yourself grace to grow and explore, because that's definitely what I'm doing. And I'm really happy with this as a start, and I feel that I can definitely just keep improving if I just keep making more work and just practicing and everything like that. So I would definitely encourage you guys, just try different things, and that could be with this October prompt even. And you don't have to worry about taking it too seriously. Like if you don't want to post your work, you do not have to do that. You can just use it as a personal exercise for your creative growth. I know that it is definitely helping me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else I can do and hopefully getting at least 15 prompts done. And that's basically my goal. If I do 16, I'll jump for joy, but 15 is where I basically want to end up. But definitely I'll let y'all enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and thank you for watching. Keep creating, keep escaping. Bye y'all.